You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. By going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com, you can make this possible.
The New York Civil Liberties Union, Common Cause New York, and the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law sent a letter this week to the New York City Board of Elections, saying their plans for early voting favors the rich and affluent and puts undue burden on the city's low-income voters. Voters in predominantly white Richmond County, home to Staten Island, will have substantially greater access to polling locations than any other county in the 5 boroughs. Queens, a majority-minority county, has 4 times as many registered voters as Richmond County, but they have the same number of polling places and have to walk more than half an hour to reach their polling places. Joining me to talk about this disparity is Jon Greenbaum, Chief Counsel and Senior Deputy Director for the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law. Welcome to Roland Martin Unfiltered, Jon. Glad to have you.
Thanks for having me on, Julianne.
So tell me about this study. Tell me why you have this disparity.
Well, we don't know the why.
Okay.
But one of the things that we wanted to do when we first heard about the fact, first of all, there are not enough early voting sites. When you think about the fact that the city of New York has more than 5 million registered voters and that there are only 38 early voting sites, that's simply not enough. And even the law says you're supposed to have, for every 50,000 voters, one early voting site. In New York has well over 100,000 voters per early voting site, close to 150,000 voters per early voting site. So not enough sites. And then the distribution of sites, as you quoted from part of our letter, is inequitable. It was a big move for the state of New York to move to early voting. It became the 39th state to do that this year, and it's been long overdue. And minority voters, particularly African-American voters, we see prefer to vote early and in person. We did a study a number of years ago in Cleveland in the 2008 presidential election, and black voters voted early at a rate of 26 times that of white voters in Cuyahoga County, where Cleveland is, in the 2008 presidential election. So there are problems with this plan that the New York City Board of Elections has trotted out, and there's time to fix it. And so we want them to fix it in time for the elections this fall.
So give me a timeline. They've said that they've set up these polling places. They didn't even release them. They read them, counting on journalists to transcribe them as opposed to releasing a list. But when can this be changed? Who gets to change it? Is it Mayor de Blasio? Is it someone else? How does this get fixed?
Well, in the first instance, again, it's the New York City Board of Elections that can fix this. There's time to do it. There's still months left before the election this fall, and it's their job to fix it. And we've raised these issues with them. We've asked them for information, sort of to provide backup, and also to give them an opportunity to add more sites and to allocate the sites in a way that's fair and equitable.
How much power do y'all have in this? I mean, you said you've asked the question, but who enforces?
Well, it starts with the New York City Board of Elections, and if they don't remediate it, we have options available to us, including litigation. And that's something that we would definitely consider if what the board does in the end is not gonna give voters what they need.
So the early voting for the primary in New York is when?
It's going to be this fall.
Okay, so this is challenging. You have 3 or 4 months. What you gonna do?
Well, this can be done. I mean, we're going to give the board the first shot at fixing this. We've raised these issues, and of course, we're not the only ones that have raised these issues, but we formalized it in a letter. We provided some details. We're willing to work with them, and we'll see what the reaction is. And as I said, if the reaction is something less than what voters need, then we'll look at other options, including litigation. And we are certainly not afraid to sue the New York Board of Elections. We've done it before.
Okay, Jon Greenbaum, thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate that. We appreciate your work. And joining me now on our panel is Cleo Monago. He is a social political analyst and activist. We have Malik Abdul, Vice President of the Black Conservative Confederation. Okay, and we have Kelly Bethea, communications strategist. Okay, I'm not trying to give him shade, but I always give him shade. What can I say? So, Cleo, you heard about this. This is a pattern. It's consistent with what's been happening with voter suppression at some level. What do you say?
I'm glad Mr. Greenbaum and his team are going to address it, but the question I have is, why was it broke? I think it's important to unpack these situations that, particularly in this day and age, do not seem to be coincidences. What happened? Why are we playing catch up when there's been an issue like this that's been a problem for some time? So I want to know what broke it and what occurred, because you cannot fix something on a permanent basis if you don't realize what led to it in the first place. It can default back into the same situation. So
Exactly.
that's my concern.
Malik, your people are the ones who are doing this voter suppression. Your people.
What happened? What city did this happen in again?
It did happen, but I'm just saying, your people have been consistently. Let me have your thought. Let me not diss you. Let me just have your thought.
And y'all's people, New York City, the bastion of liberalism, this is something that is happening in New York City. Just as I said, whether it's happening in a conservative state or in this case, New York City, you know, these things shouldn't happen. You know, what the guy was, the previous...
Jon Greenbaum.
Jon
yes.
Greenbaum, yes. What he was talking about as far as just the availability of polling places and things like that, you know, these things should be bipartisan. There should be, you know, no political leanings when we're talking about people having access.
But it's beyond bipartisan. It also should be absent of class. I mean, this
absolutely.
is clearly, I mean,
Yeah.
Staten Island, Queens,
Yeah.
white people, Manhattan, Bronx, black people, brown people. So when you have the same number of polling places in a place where you have
Smaller.
fewer people than this other place, you're sure to say, I'm gonna make it easier for you and more difficult for you.
Yeah, it's hard to say that there's any equity in that. You know, it's hard to even defend it, you know, at all.
So I commend you for not defending it. Kelly.
No, I agree with my panelists here. When Greenbaum mentioned, or answered rather, why things are the way they are, and he was like, we don't know why. I think we know why.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty clear.
We always know why.
We always know why. And I just wish that, you know, I understand that he's leading the effort and is commendable, absolutely. But at the same time, I wish somebody of a lighter hue would just, you know, admit that it's because of systemic racism, because that's what it is.
Well, it's race and class in this case.
Both. It is definitely both. But in terms of this particular city, like, the class and the race is almost synonymous with each other given the demographics and where people live. So,
And how much money.
And how
who makes what money.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
And
so
who pulls what political strings?
yeah, I just wish that he would just say, hey, it's traces of, you know, some systemic racist crap that we've been dealing with for 400 years now.
And like I said earlier, that he won't articulate it creates the environment where it could happen again, because
Exactly.
no one's being concrete about, this is the problem right here that we must remedy and prevent, so this won't happen again. Oh, I don't know. Well, I don't know, Lisa. I don't know outcomes.
Right.
You know, you always got it.
In Atlanta, for our school choice is the Black Choice Town Hall event. There was an elementary school in Atlanta, folks. This is a black elementary school. 5% of the school students were reading on grade level. I'm gonna repeat that. In Atlanta, 5% of the children were reading on grade level. So you then have to ask the question, what's gonna happen when they're in middle school? What's gonna happen when they are in high school? Will they ever be able to catch up? Will they be consigned for the entire life of being behind?